You're listening to America's Diesel Podcast. Hey everybody, thanks for tuning in. Here's our intro. This is America's Diesel Podcast. Buy parts at Diesel Power Products. If you need injectors, get them at Dynamite. If you want to manual swap your truck, talk to Andrew at Long Range Gear. This is the end of the intro. Yeah. All right, so we had a Facebook post, and do you guys like my new intro?
I love the new intro.
That was a good one.
Oh yeah, that's good.
I think we got all the business out of the way. So we had a Facebook post that I deemed good enough to have a full-on response to. Not that some of you guys' posts aren't good enough, but I just happen to have two people here that are actually fairly well equipped to answer these questions. And I'm trying to find it right now. Me being the dumbass that I am, I didn't actually save it.
It's up with the list of parts. Isn't that it?
He deleted it. He changed his mind.
Oh, there it is. Yeah, 12 valve ZF6. There it is. Okay. This is for you, Logan. Yeah, Logan Osgood. We've got two subject matter experts here to answer your questions. So, yeah, big air quotes on all of that for all of us.
He's got the beard of knowledge.
Yeah. They keep turning the lights on and we keep talking to the microphone and the beer keeps coming. So we're going to keep talking. And the flies are here.
Yeah.
We got flies this week.
All of them.
In vengeance, dude. God.
Yeah. A little known fact. Those of you know, we have a certain Rainbow member that hangs around the podcast room. And our camera guy actually killed a fly with said rainbow dildo.
Pierre.
Yeah. Pierre the rainbow dildo.
Yeah.
He actually killed a fly with the fucking dildo. It was absolutely magnificent.
It's freaking ninja status right there.
It's a multi-purpose tool.
It is, really. So let's get the flies just chilling. You know what? Whatever, man. So let's get this out of the way real quick. For those of you that don't know, Mitch, introduce yourself, and after that, Andrew, you go while I get this all dialed up.
Mitch, Dynamite Diesel Products, and I'm the mechanic, truck builder, dyno operator guy.
Should have added extraordinaire.
Extraordinaire philanthropist. What else?
Philanthropist.
Fly rapist.
And I am Andrew, transmission rebuilder. My company's name is Long Range Gear. I do manual transmissions for all these diesel trucks.
Hell yeah. And we are just lucky enough to have them that they're both local here.
Yeah.
And they're both like our people, which is fantastic. So welcome back to the show, guys. So Logan, you have proposed that you are getting ready to do a Fummins action. He's doing a OBS forward, crew cab, long bed dually, 12 valve, shooting for around that 500 horsepower mark with a ZF6. The first thing that I wanted to talk about on there is, well, actually, not the first thing. You may have remembered some of Logan's other posts about he had a Hemi truck. That's out of the equation now.
No, I don't remember any of those posts.
Tyler wouldn't because he doesn't have Facebook. For those of you who don't know, Tyler doesn't have Facebook.
It's not in my book. I don't.
He has a Facebook.
Yeah. I don't see it.
Just need the update.
Yeah, you need to get
Daily updates.
Yeah, update browser.
Yeah.
And the first thing that struck my mind, and we're going to go to you, Andrew, and it's about the ZF6. And the only reason I mention this is me having a couple different OBS trucks. One of them is a ZF5 truck. I did look into actually what it would take to put a ZF6 in there, and I ended up not doing it personally, mostly because if it was easy, I think I would have done it. But from what I saw, not only about the transmission, but fitting it in, was really kind of more than I wanted to chew. And to the long story short, though, the ZF6 and ZF5, if I recall correctly, have the same overdrive ratio. If not, they're darn close to like 7.8 and 7.6 or 7.7 maybe.
Yeah, but the ZF6 is like the skinny, super tall, like really long thing. So, I mean, I've never owned an OBS Ford or anything like that, but I don't know what the floor pan looks like, but probably needs some shopping, right?
That's exactly it. Yeah, it's just a physically larger transmission than the ZF5. Or actually, I don't know if it's larger, but just fitting in the same area.
Definitely.
Yeah. But as far as the gear splits, I mean, you're getting the same overdrive because everybody thinks like, 6. It's one more than 5.
Yeah.
I have another overdrive or a deep. No, you don't. You just have an extra gear to split in there, which if you're towing heavy is good to have. And it's a bigger transmission. That's awesome. But, and I've kind of come across this too as far as manual trucks, and maybe you guys can chime in on this as well. But like if you want a truck that's a manual that you're going to be like putting power to and you want to race it a little bit, having a bunch of real short gears is going to help you out a lot.
Yeah.
This is the one time where like, hey, I wouldn't mind a little bit longer of a gear and kind of wrap it out a little bit.
Does he already have the ZF6?
He has nothing.
He has nothing.
He's getting
so
all-
why not do like a 5600?
That's what we're going to get into, and you're right on the ball there. But yeah, so
It's your turn.
yeah, damn it, Tyler.
I'll just sit back here. All right, I got a nozzle I can play with.
Can we just like move the camera and like shut him out of it?
Back to 3. Get rid of 4.
Yeah.
So, Andrew,
Dicks.
tell me your opinions on this while I grab you another frosty beverage.
Oh, thank you, sir. Opinions on going to a ZF6. If you don't have anything, like if you're completely starting from scratch and you got to hunt, I love ZF6s, but I'm going to say, you know, there's probably a better choice for a swap. If you're set on the 12 valve, I guess you need to kind of pick. Thank you, sir. I think you need to pick your engine and kind of go backwards from there, or you know, at least that's how I would do it. If you're going to go to a ZF6 behind a Cummins, you do have to buy some adapting hardware. D-Stroked, or I think it's Iron Horse Manufacturing. They all make adapter plates that would take place of your, like what you know, your 12 valve or first gen adapter plate, whatever. You'd pull that off, and this is like a super cool looking billet aluminum piece. And so you can bolt your ZF6 right to it. The problem is those adapters are like $900, $800, something like that. So, I mean, you already got to like pick up a nice clutch. You're spending all this money on this swap stuff. It's kind of a expensive element that you don't necessarily need to throw in if you're starting from scratch, right? Just like Tyler said, if you're going with a Cummins engine, sticking with something that goes factory behind a Cummins is probably the best bet, in my opinion, just to save that step.
See, Tyler, hey, chalk one up. Tyler nailed it.
Well, and also what you need, essentially a custom built clutch at that point, because you need a flywheel that bolts to the crank.
Kinda. So I think it's the D-Stroke kit. It's been a while, so I've kind of looked into it. But one of them uses like a spacer for your clutch, and you can use a factory Cummins clutch. You just have to have like either a pilot bearing, either board for a pilot bearing that will fit the ZF6 pilot, which is much larger than the New Venture or the G56 in terms of diameter. But one of them comes with like a little spacer plate that, you know, is another 100. You know,
Yeah. Well,
stuff like that you got to like.
Yeah, you got to factor into the build, because I mean you're getting, because I know South Bend will build like basically whatever, you know, for, you know, your application. But you still have that added cost of doing the adapter plate on the back of the engine. So you might as well just go with all their adapters for that. But then also there's the cost of getting the ZF6 itself. I mean, those can't be. I don't know if I've ever seen one that's just for sale.
Yeah, there's a couple 6-liter ZF6s on Marketplace local here.
You have to search probably Ford though, right?
Yeah, I don't do that.
I don't do that either.
I bought my last ZF6 core for like $1,000, but it's because it was a guy who had some Cummins stuff and he needed work, and he just mentioned it to me. I don't typically look for ZF stuff because their bell housings are so picky. Like I don't know what it is with Ford. Like everything's got a different bell pattern or a bell housing pattern, and
Always improving. Sorry, man.
yeah.
Okay.
That's why we wear Carhartt. We're always working on ourselves, man.
Yeah. Well, you can definitely find.
I'd respect you more if you wore Dickies.
I love Dickie stuff.
We're just trying to dick you over.
Like, is it funny how Carhartt has like kind of changed to that like bro, like, because it's like everybody wants to wear Carhartt, but when it comes to doing Carhartt shit, nobody wants to do it.
It's true.
Stupid
So like,
beanie
I can
on
see,
top of their head
I can
and
just
stuff.
see a dude with Carhartts with a hammer under the hood of a Power Stroke, just. Ah! I'm working.
Okay, now that Tyler so
got that out of
rudely
the system.
He
interrupted you,
can interrupt me anytime.
Sorry, I just had to get it out. I'm gonna play with my things over here now.
The 7.3 bell housings are
Shit. All right. Sorry. Last one.
Are you quite finished, sir? But yeah, that's. I'm just.
You said 7.3 bell. I'm sorry. Go continue.
I looked for one, like he's trying to convince you to go with one, and it turns out there's no 7.3 bell housings around here at all. And even on eBay, I think I saw one on eBay. It was like $2,000, and
Yeah, fuck that.
Nope.
Is the 7.3 and the 6.0 two different bell housings?
Yep.
I didn't know that.
And the 6.0's got a better main shaft and it's stronger. I've never like swapped the bell housings on those ZF6s. Like, they just bring them to me for a rebuild. I would love to mess with them a little bit more, but I'm not so sure that you can just convert it, but I want to find out. So I tried to find one. It's super hard. So that brings, like, I say that because ZF6s like rarely break. It's kind of hard to find stuff for them. And when you do, you got to get like, make sure you get the right year for the right model, because Ford changed everything every 6 months. And, just go with the Dodge thing. They're the same for like 5-6 years at a time.
Yeah. Well, and then you get the luxury, in my opinion, as far as swaps go. It's like you got to try and take a win where you can and eliminate possible issues later on. If you have a Cummins, made it up to a transmission that was meant to go with the Cummins, that fits where it's supposed to go, you can put a Ram transfer case behind it, and now you've got this connection that, like, okay, if you need parts, basically from the fan blades to the back of the transfer case, you're buying it for like a 2nd-gen 12 valve. You're good to go. Synergy, homogeneous. Yeah.
Well, too, you gotta think of the cost. Like, I mean, and not just money wise, but your time. I mean, there's going to be a lot more time in figuring out all the things you need to do to get that ZF6 in there, what you need to do to the floor pan, what you're doing with TK, whatever you're doing with all of that. If time's not on your side, but you just want a manual transmission, go with the NV stuff.
Yeah.
Like, you might as well. I mean, the 5600 is a great manual transmission. Like, you're still going to have fun. You can still put power through it.
Yeah.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with that.
And it's the splits are fairly similar to the ZF6 as well. And actually, if I recall correctly, the 5600 has a deeper overdrive than the ZF6.
Like barely. I
Barely.
think.
Okay.
Yeah.
0.73 on the 5600.
Yeah, 0.73.
Well, that's a hell of a lot better.
Yeah.
The ZF5s and ZF6s are like 7.8, 7.9. If I recall correctly, maybe 7.7.
It's in there with like the
I'll find it.
4500.
I'll find it.
You got it? Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure. I thought the ZF6 was like 0.72 or 7.3, maybe 7.4.
I know ZF5s are 7.8 because my blue truck wound the fuck up. And 37s and 410s, you'd think you'd be like, oh, that's a good. No, man. It was like 37s and 373s would have been the jam on that one. This thing did not like highway speeds.
I think the 5600 has the tallest overdrive of them all.
Pretty close.
Let's see here.
How do you like your 5600 there, Mitch?
I love it. It's good stuff.
Cool.
It's so much better than the 4500, like all day long. Like that split between 3 and 4. So nice. You don't have to bog the truck down every time you grab fourth gear.
Yeah.
I think on that post when we were talking about it, I mentioned that it might be in his best interest to find like a 12 valve donor truck, like up where I live, like way out in the middle of nowhere. There's a ton of mid 90s trucks with NV 4500s that are just beat all to crap, and you could probably pick them up for a steal.
Yeah.
Those are obviously only gonna have an NV 4500, but I love NV 4500s, and you can make them.
There's nothing wrong with them.
Yeah, if you're not towing full time, I imagine if he's building a Fummins truck, it's probably not primarily a tow rig, right?
So it's a dually, so he might be on it.
I think it's going to have towing duties, but it's not a tow rig, if you will. I mean, I'll pull it up here again. Going to use it as an around town truck and sometimes hauling a camper.
Yeah, I'm gonna lean towards an NV 4500 just because we're comparing a wide ratio transmission, which are the 5 speeds, the NV 4500, ZF5, all that kind of stuff, versus close ratio. And obviously my trucks are all 6-speed, and I have to come down to Spokane very often, and sometimes it's like a lot of shifting.
Yeah,
like a lot, and it kind of gets old.
Yeah.
Whereas in downtown, around town, I think 5 speeds are great options. You can take each gear a little bit farther. And then cutting the cost of the whole, like buying a Cummins engine on Marketplace, like, prices are all over the place.
It's way cheaper just to buy a truck that's clapped.
Yeah. Buy a $4,500, 12 valve truck with an NV 4500, swap it all over in it. And then someday if it if the NV 4500 isn't good enough for you, set it up with an 1 3/8 clutch so that way later on you can change to a 6-speed if you want, pretty easily. Or a NV 5600. You'd kind of be stuck with that one, but I think that would kind of set you up for room to expand. It would still be cheap, be easiest to set up. The NV 4500 is really compact, so you probably don't need to worry too much about cutting the floor pan, right?
It's a pretty small transmission.
It's a pretty,
yeah, it's not very big.
Especially if you went with a square top. I have a good video on YouTube about converting from the super tall round tops to a little square top. That would be helpful for installation and maintenance and whatnot.
Yeah, because cutting the floor, that adds a whole other layer of difficulty if you're not a sheet
Even if you
metal
don't have
guy.
to cut it, you're just down there with a rubber mallet.
Just beating the hell out of
yeah,
it.
just beating the hell out of your cab.
Just hope you just put a center console in so it covers it all up.
Patch that thing together. Do OBS Fords come with like a high hump or a low hump option for 4-wheel drive? No, of course not. Ford. God, it's garbage.
That's the one time they were like, no, hey, we're gonna keep this the same, and it's basically the same floor and the same cutout for like 15, 20 years.
This is the one thing we're not gonna change
Yeah.
every 5 minutes. Okay.
So I'm trying to find the same page that I used to have a master page on my computer on my desk that has all of my final drive on there and everything. But if this is correct, then I stand corrected. A ZF6 and a 6-liter final drive is 0.72. Yeah. That's a good final drive.
That's really good.
The ZF5 I know for a fact is a lot shorter than that. It's almost I want to say it's like 0.78, 0.79 or something like that. But I didn't look up the final on a NV56.
It's 7.2.
7.2. Okay.
7.2.
So you'd be in the same wheelhouse as that.
Mm-hmm.
Again, so yeah, my vote would be go with the 5600 there if you can. But the case in point, donor truck, 100% find yourself
just
a
buy
donor
a
truck.
donor truck.
Don't
Be
even
easier.
try and find, my buddy's got a 12 valve sitting around and I'll source this and I'll source that. Bide your time, find a donor truck, especially if it's going to have all those little random parts and pieces that you're going to end up looking for. You'll have it on the donor truck.
Yeah, you will nickel and dime yourself to death doing a swap.
Yes.
Ask me how I know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's
several.
some guys too that'll buy like a Cummins engine, but not realize it came out of like a piece of industrial equipment.
Oh yeah.
Because the guy's selling
alternator
it-
brackets all wrong. The adapter plate's wrong.
Yeah.
And it's a pump that can't actually be really turned up or anything like that.
Yeah.
We used to get those
Yeah, it's
calls
an
all
A
the time.
pump.
Yeah.
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 They're like, oh, I want to turn this pump up. And then like, oh, okay, cool. And like me being naive, didn't think about it the first time. I had it sent in. I think I had it sent to industrial. And like Sterling called me back. Last time I heard Sterling's name, but Sterling called me back and he's like, hey, we can't build this pump. I'm like, what the fuck? You can't build it. P pump, bro.
Yeah. Yeah. If the color of the engine is anything other than black,
Yeah. He's like,
beware.
this is an industrial pump.
Yeah.
We can't do that. Like, you can't even like, what happens if you want to turn up your industrial equipment? He's like, they don't do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, oh shit. Okay, well,
Yeah,
I have to call this guy back.
I've had a couple of real tough conversations with people and like, hey, listen, dude, if you want to do this, like, you got to spend like $2,500 on a pump.
Yeah.
Like, sorry, bro.
And get this, the
And, like,
core's
yeah.
3600,
Yeah.
and you don't have one.
You don't have one. So sorry, bro, but that's
This
shitty.
industrial pump core that you just sent me, it's not going to work as a core.
Yeah, yeah.
It's worth
I swear it came out of a pickup truck. No, it didn't.
Like, I bought the,
guy-
engine for $1,200.
Yeah.
Like, well, now you got to spend $7,000.
You got honeypotted.
Yeah. You've been hoodwinked.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think final answer for you there, stick with a Ram transmission and a Ram transfer case.
So we just crushed one of his dreams.
Yeah, there you
We'll keep going.
Then,
How
you
many
know,
more dreams can be crushed?
if you break down somewhere, like you need a new clutch or whatever, then you can go get something off the shelf. It's pretty.
Well, that's what I
true.
was going to say. Like the fact that you can just like, how many people are going to have a ZF6 clutch versus how many people are going to have
A 5600 clutch.
5600 clutch.
Or
Later.
45.
Or
every
4500.
fucking Napa
Do you guys
everywhere?
even have like ZF6 clutches here? Yeah,
I don't think
that's-
so.
You had one on the shelf when
There's
I
a
bought
whole-
mine.
yeah.
There's a
Probably.
whole
600,
rack of Dodge clutches over there, and not one ZF6.
We probably have I don't want to like toot our own horn, but we probably have close to like $100,000 worth of like G56 clutches out there. That's pretty much all of it.
Yeah, I drool every time I walk by it.
Yeah.
Just to quench the hater's thirst, should he go G56 in it?
G56s are awesome. I love them, but there's a lot of compromise. And the biggest problem with them is that we're kind of tapering off of the factory support. You know, Mercedes or Dodge, whatever, can, they constantly had their parts, but obviously they're marked up 400,000%. and we're just sort of getting to the point where the aftermarket picks up. Well, the aftermarket is making these parts not quite as good as OEMs, but they're like, well, hey, these people have no other option. We're going to charge the same price as the OEM. So if you were to look up like, if you bought a NV5600, like second gear or whatever, that gear, retail costs somewhere less, $175, $200, something like that, right? It includes an engagement plate. And G56s are separate, so you have to buy the gear separate, and then the clutch gear, they call it. Those clutch gears alone are like $300, $400. And then the gear, $200, $300. And, the last G56 I did, dude's invoice was $6,800. And an equivalent rebuild for an NV5600 is the kind of thing that I do all day long, and it's, half that. I mean, if you are ready for a really hardcore invoice, and you're cool with it, you just got money to burn, yeah, go G56, man. You just got to get over that terrible rattling noise, and but other than that, don't put too much power to it either, or you'll break cases too. So other than that too,
you're making a really strong case for a G56.
They're great transmissions unless you want to use it.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I'm being a smart ass. But, I put a heavy case on mine, and it's otherwise pretty much stock, and I beat it pretty good, and it performs well. I really like them. They're just obnoxious, and they're so expensive. So if you can get a good core that doesn't need a whole bunch, then yeah, I mean, I think they're cool. They shift really great.
As far as I've only driven, I think, 2 5600 trucks, and I think I only one G56 truck actually. So yeah, forgive me on here. So 5600s are going to be a lot more notchy than a G56, right?
Stock ones, yeah.
Okay.
Unless you have Andrew build yours.
Yeah,
like
yours?
mine was super notchy until I got it all broke in, and it's butter now. It's like, I don't know, 500-600 miles probably.
Oh shit, you still got plenty to go, man.
Oh,
it's gonna get even better.
Oh, dude, it's butter already. Like it's like, it feels like a G56 now. Like a G56 super, like just out of the factory, like butter, nice and clean. 5600 always feels notchy, but Andrew's 5600s are bread ass.
Yeah, from the factory, man, they just, I don't know if it was just like they were slapping stuff together or whatnot, but even if you just do like a real basic rebuild using half decent basic parts, it's a massive, massive improvement just right out of the gate. And then you start doing tricks to it, and they can actually shift very, very, very well and fast. And if you break them, the parts are not anywhere near a G56. And in my opinion, they hold more power. So it's my favorite one. But the front case half alone for a G56 is like $1,500, for a stock one, and heavy ones are more like $2,000. So,
oof.
Are the 5600 cores easier to come by in G56s?
They're both kind of hard. You're probably gonna have to drive to get it or order it off eBay or something like that, because people snatch those things up real quick. If you're not, quick on the trigger to grab one, it's going to be hard. I've driven to Canada for NV5600 stuff. I've gotten actually several of them from Canada.
It's like 2 miles from your house, though.
It's true, it is.
It's making it sound like he's driving from like Vegas up there. Drove 15 hours.
It was such a long 3-hour drive. Those guys do know how to break stuff though, like really, really good.
Dude, those oil field Canadian dudes, like they,
yeah, oof. They're like, it's completely out of oil. Don't care.
Yeah.
So I mean, yeah, you might be in for some traveling. You would probably find an NV5600 before a G56, but it will probably need a rebuild, or it'll have the old input and old synchros, and if you hold out for a G56, it's great, but it's still a gamble. And then a rebuild cost on a G56 gets, mine start at 3,100, but it goes like whew, as soon as there's damage, real fast. So
okay, so moral story: fuck the G56 for your application.
NV5600.
Yeah, 5600.
And one thing I did want to say is that I'm seeing a lot more of these like old 12 valve trucks, like the mid 90s that are NV5600 swapped. Mm-hmm. So there was one on Marketplace just a few days ago, local to us, that it was a P pump truck. My buddy was looking at it, and it was 5600 swapped. So if you could find that, that's like the pinnacle.
I sell that truck. I was looking at it too.
Oh yeah, you saw?
Oh, of course I saw. It's a 12 valve.
It's like we're all watching the same porn. Like, you see that? Yeah, I saw that truck.
Yeah, did you see the midget one too? Yeah, the midget pirate. Oh yeah.
I think that. I mean, would you agree that's probably like the best donor truck to find?
Oh yeah, and the price was right too.
And those OBS Fords have a driver's side front axle drop, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Fuck.
Yeah.
Shit. There you go. Pull it out of one, stick it in the other.
Yep.
Done.
Okay. So now that we've got that out of the way, let's talk about power.
Horsepower.
Speed and power. That was not organized. It just happened. So he did mention it looks like 550. We're assuming you're P pumping, and because if you're VE pumping, I got nothing against that, but I'd rather you build a P pump. Just saying.
Oh, dude, build a VE. Do it. What the Gavin over at Firepunk, 760 horsepower.
Well, okay, all right, fine.
Yeah,
fine. And I have said before that
1,600 foot-pounds of torque.
Is it fuel only?
That's fuel only.
Wow.
I was rooting for
I
you.
had one in my hand.
Highly
already.
impressive.
That's up until that. The last fuel only one that I heard that was any halfway decent was like 440, 480 or something like that.
No, what's his name? Eric at what's his last name? Thielsen? Hungry Diesel. He's up out of Priest Lake, Priest River, whatever it's called. He was at the same event. He laid down 720, I think.
Fuel only?
On fuel only.
Jesus.
Okay, now
Can it drive?
Gavin broke. God, don't quote me. 1,200 horsepower on nitrous with a VE. He still had fuel to go.
Wow.
Does it
Who
drive?
is building these VE pumps?
Yeah,
Well, the one is Hungry Diesel, and then the other one is Ratcliffe.
You guys don't do VE stuff?
No, I don't. Well, I mean, we injectors,
Yeah.
but we don't sell
Fuel
pumps.
fins. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
fuel
thought you guys
pins.
built. I thought you guys built.
No, we don't build pumps.
Oh.
I've been told to very much address. DDP does not build pumps. We do not have P pumps or VEs. Quit calling.
Very well. You heard it here.
As of now, we do not build P pumps.
Damn. All right. Well,
Yeah.
what is
Oh,
it?
shit.
What's,
Where were we
what's the
going on? I
difference
don't
in
remember what
price
we were
between
talking
getting
about.
like a built P pump and a built VE pump from like comparable folks?
Depends if you have a core.
Yeah. If you, let's say if you wanted to go that way with no core,
No core. A
Would he-
VE is cheaper to buy.
he would save like
Yeah,
a
I
lot.
think you can buy a comp pump from Hungary. I think their comp pump's $1,850.
Well,
Yeah,
maybe.
it's way cheaper.
Go buy a P pump. I mean, I got $3,500 in mine
Yeah.
for the race truck.
So
Yeah, a lot more parts in the P pump.
Yeah.
so I guess the reason I ask is, would a first gen? I mean,
if you found a first gen with a get rig, I mean, you'd have to change the T case.
I don't know. I don't like.
Oh, I'm sure you don't.
No, they're good. They're fine.
They just don't like power.
I would choose something
they're growly.
else. But I mean, I guess if the capability for power is there with a VE pump.
Oh, you can make it. VE pumps will make it. I have a stock non-intercooled that'll make almost 500 in my C10.
Better daily driving and mileage at a VE pump, don't you?
I think so.
Oh, and cold starting and everything. Like a VE is just nice because it's got the dynamic timing, so it actually pulls timing back. And then as you increase fuel pressure in the diaphragm, it actually starts ramping in timing on a VE pump. How much timing that is, I don't know that answer because I've kind of gotten out of the VE stuff, so I don't remember how much timing advance it actually has. Thank you, sir.
I feel like a P pump though is funner. Like it's just funner to play with. You've got
I don't know. Like that, the VE I have is a lot of fun
yeah.
because I mean,
Well, I'm just looking at your cool parts right there, and I'm like,
well,
hey.
I mean, I brought P pump stuff.
yeah,
but-
I know.
Well,
That's what I'm saying.
There's
There's
a
a lot
fuel
of
pin.
there's yeah. But I've always argued that the P pump is like the best diesel engine if you want to learn about diesel performance and doing things yourself and learning what each thing does. Like a P pump is like the best engine to play with.
I think you could argue that both of them are a 12 valve in general, VE or a P pump, because that's what I cut. Get out of here. I cut my teeth on a VE pump on pumps.
Yeah.
Like I tuned a handful of them, like just out of high school,
Yeah.
learning how to make them smoke and do mostly smoke.
Yeah,
but,
yeah,
you know,
Do a hood rush shit with my friends.
yeah, doing that kind of stuff. But Yeah, I mean,
Okay, let me rephrase that. A P pump is cooler to look at.
so a P pump is. I think a P pump is way rowdier.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
you get into a P pump that actually runs good, and then everything's kind of built to actually hold some RPM.
Yeah.
And a P pump is rowdy.
Yeah. Well, it's like a little
time.
engine on the side of your engine.
And it's funny, like you look at it and you're like, oh, that's not a very big pump, and then you get it off of the motor,
Yeah,
and it's
heavy.
like, this thing's freaking massive.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
long.
it's half the size of the engine.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, well, there's a lot of cool shit you can do. I mean, you can get custom ground cams for them, freaking larger plungers.
Oh yeah.
Like, there's all sorts of cool shit you can
Yeah,
do.
there's
It's like a small engine
There's a
on your
lot
engine.
you can do with a P pump. I mean, you get the flat tops, you get the notch top plungers. So you got like everything up to the 215 is a flat top, and then the 215 pump has notch top, which has retard notches. But if you know how to build the pump or you know what you're doing, they become advanced notches. So like that pump will actually advance timing with increased rack travel.
Yep.
And so I mean you've got P pumps are fun too.
Yeah.
There's just a lot of on both there's a lot you can do on both for zero amount of money.
Yeah.
And that's
Right.
what's fun about them. So
Exactly.
I mean a VE
Yeah.
you can pull 100 horsepower out of a stock VE
Yeah.
just by playing with it. And a P pump you can do you can probably pull I've pulled like 120 I think it's 120 I think is where we're at right now on the test truck just
Playing around.
just messing with it.
Yeah.
Which is to get to is like he wanted 500 horsepower for like a good streetable, like good cold starting. What would be easiest to hit that mark with
I think
and keep all the good characteristics?
I think if you go beyond 400 horsepower, you start getting out of what's fun on a VE and easy. Because once you go above 400 horsepower, I think you're pretty well into the comp pump. So, I mean, for 500 horsepower out of a P pump, that's cake all
just
day
gotta
long.
look at it really hard.
It doesn't care. Yeah. You just like telepathically, like, hey,
Yeah.
we need 500. And it's like, okay. Sometimes.
Yeah.
I've had one pump that would not make power, but there was a 180 and it was our test truck or injector test truck. It was like, nope.
Probably got some reps on it, huh? Get worked a lot.
No, I was mad at it. We tried everything. I did everything we could possibly do to that stupid pump, and it would make like 400 horsepower.
That's gonna be like, when he said that, I was like, oh, it's got like a lot of miles. He's like, I was mad at it. Yeah. I was mad.
Drove the shit out of that thing. Yeah.
We're gonna find out why you suck, and that's because we're gonna beat it out of you.
Yeah. It's like, you suck? Okay, well, we're just gonna ride you hard then. Come on. But yeah, I mean, if you want 500 horsepower, P pump's probably the way to go. VE is capable, but you're probably better off with the P pump, realistically.
Yeah, and at the end, I mean, argument for VE, you'll probably find a VE 12 valve faster and cheaper than you'll find a P pump.
Especially in non-intercooled.
Yeah, because everybody just
Unless it's in a truck, then you're not.
Yeah.
because everybody's got to have a P pump, got to have a P pump.
Yeah.
But you would then need to kind of detune your horsepower, like shoot for like 400 with a VE pump.
Yeah.
400 on a daily driver VE pump truck. And keep in mind, that's still going to be nearly like, 850, 900 foot-pounds of torque.
Oh,
You're
yeah.
still going to be able to yank whatever you want.
That's like quadruple of a stock power stroke.
Yeah.
Well, and then the other
It will
thing to
go a
keep in
million
mind
miles
is like,
farther.
it's like you want 500 horsepower, but have you ever driven 500 horsepower? 500 horsepower is pretty rowdy.
For
Yeah,
a
good
daily
time.
driver street truck, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And it's that we've said that before, that like 450 to 550, maybe 575 range, right in there. That's that like daily driver. You can still make it act like a normal truck, but when you lean on it, it's fucking rowdy.
Yeah.
And you don't start like, anytime you raise horsepower, you start testing parts, but you don't start testing like, oh man, I broke like the axle housing, or oh man, my drive shaft is completely fucked now.
Yeah,
It's like,
because
you're still within your working limits.
Yeah, you should have like 1410 U joints in it, so like those are fine. You shouldn't realistically run into anything aside. You put a good clutch in it, and then you're pretty well set.
Yeah.
So,
Except in an OBS, you'll just have the frame twist, especially in that long ass body you're trying to put on there.
Well, it's only built for 85 horsepower.
Yeah, I know. It works really well though. Okay, 85 horsepower from
for off-roading
from the line.
articulation. That's what it's for.
But yeah, so we're gonna get into fuel here in just a minute. Actually, it might be second episode because we're going to split this into two. But I do want to touch a little bit more on transmission stuff. So if for some reason he ends up looking into a VE pump truck, how hard is it to put a 5600 behind that?
It's you just need a second gen adapter plate.
Okay.
That's it. It's literally it.
See how Dodge did that?
Yeah.
It's because it's from a fucking tractor.
Yeah.
That's
so
why.
you can take an adapter plate from a 94.
Super badass
Yeah.
tractor.
Go ahead, Mitch, tell me all about
You
it.
can put a transmission from 2018 in that pickup.
You just can't see the way Mitch is looking at me right now.
That's called synergy, Ben.
You just dadded the shit out of me. It's like when I'm telling my son, see, you put your foot in your shoe before you tie it.
Yeah.
All of a sudden it fits, right? Yeah, fucking crazy, right? Dick.
Sorry, not sorry.
What happened, Ty? Did you find Pierre sneaking up your leg?
My nozzle.
Oh, your nozzle.
Don't lose that.
It's
That's
just
that
the tip.
That's that 200 LPM.
Yeah. So final jury or final selection, since we're building your truck for you on this podcast, is
Like it or not.
Yeah, like it or not. If you're shooting for 500 or more, P-pump it is. If you want to stick to that 420 mark, heyo, VE pump, you can probably find it cheaper. But if you're going to find that and it doesn't have a manual behind it, I would say lose the get drag, because if you're going to tow with it, you're probably better off a 5600, and you can have something built by Andrew, which is a good call.
I can do the get drags.
But do you want to?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm happy to. Some parts aren't available though, like shift forks is a big thing right now. If anybody out there in the manufacturing world can hop on that, I'd greatly appreciate it. Like now.
Well, and like Mitch was saying though too, like if that engine is in a truck, like you're gonna pay up for it. I feel like more people took P-pump 12 valves out of trucks because they knew what it was. Like, hey, this is a P-pump 12 valve.
Mm-hmm.
I can pull this engine out. This truck is shit. I can sell this engine
Pretty
for more
much.
money.
Yeah.
And but finding that is like a roller. Good luck, because you're gonna pay up for it, because they
true.
somehow became a vintage truck and freaking asking classic car
Yeah,
prices for
something
these
about
things.
being 35 years old or something. Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like I see a whole lot of the VE engines on Marketplace.
I've been seeing a lot
I
of them
see
too.
it more too.
Especially the non-intercooled.
I haven't looked for a while.
Yeah.
I think they get passed up for the P-pump a lot, so they're a little bit more
Yeah.
Exactly.
plentiful.
Yeah.
So, hey,
And it's
man.
also we're gonna touch on this real quick too. I don't know if you're a diehard mechanical guy, but if you're 100% have to have a P pump, you're gonna pay through the nose for a P pump, you might be able to actually put a common rail in there.
Oh yeah,
I'm
100%.
just gonna throw that ball out there.
You can do
Because-
common rail swaps nowadays for the same as you can do a P-pump swap.
And that's mostly
realistically.
because everybody, you pay a premium for the P pump,
Yep.
but then you take that same money you're going to spend on that 5.9 P pump, put in a 5.9 common rail, and all of a sudden, whoa, the world opens up.
Yeah. And you can get, like, Firepunk makes a standalone harness for, I think it's $900.
What?
Wow, that price has gone down a lot.
Yeah. So you can put, like, as long as you've got the motor with an ECM on it, it's it's $900 for the standalone engine harness.
Damn.
And it's literally everything, because I put one in. It's literally everything you need. You just get the throttle assembly out of the truck, bolt it in whatever you're putting it in, and that's it. Like, you give it power and ground.
Wow.
That would be a way better way to spend $900 than on a ZF6 swap.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Corey, vote. Corey doesn't have a mic, but he says he agrees.
Yeah, like, I'm pulling my VE out of my C10, and it's going common rail.
Oh, badass.
Like, yes, we're going common rail.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was that cheap, or I would.
Yeah.
Yeah, VE is fun, but yeah, common rail
Many
is
of
where it's at.
opportunities will open up for you with the common rail.
Well, it's so much better. Like, you can make, okay, so now you got a common rail. Now you can make 1,000 horsepower. And then you can go beep boop, make 500 horsepower and daily drive it. And then you go beep boop and back to 1,000 horsepower and wreck some Mustang's day.
Yeah, in a dually.
In a dually. Yeah.
And so, what the differences between swapping in a common rail and a 12 out? Like the mounting's all the same, right? It's just gonna be the electronics for the.
Essentially,
It's
mounting.
your motor. I mean, you'll buy specific motor mounts, like a 12 valve.
But
12
to
valve is
shoehorn it in there, it's
it's identical dimensionally. It's identical.
so really
motor.
the only deviation between going P pump 12 valve versus common rail is that controller.
Yeah.
Sourcing the motor.
As
obviously,
long
but
as you
then-
have an ECM,
As
though.
long as you have an ECM, and you can buy. I mean, I've seen.
D-Stroke makes the Zeus, that standalone ECM.
Do
but
they
it's
still make those? That's so old school.
I'm pretty sure they still have them on their
can
site.
buy. You can buy 849 ECMs all day long for
Yeah.
$500.
Yeah. Well,
So-
there's a website that refurbishes them. You can get them for relatively cheap.
There was one locally on the Facebook for $500.
Yeah. Yeah, that's actually a good idea. It's yeah.
Well,
Because here's the thing too. I feel like I find more wrecked common
Third gens,
rails
100%.
that are like parts trucks.
Oh, you can find them so cheap. There's a couple I'm looking at right now that are like runners. Like you can go drive it for $8,000.
Yeah.
Like that's freaking killer.
Yeah.
Especially if you find one of those early common rails that still has a 5600 behind it.
Yeah.
You've now got your full running chassis and
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah.
And coming from experience, at least on our end, granted it was a 325 horse truck. If you do that, you'd be starting with a 305 horse truck. But more or less intake, tuner, exhaust. I know that your intake and tuner or intake and exhaust would be a little bit. Tyler, did you kill?
I will call him Steve.
So Tyler just caught a fly in his cup.
Did he catch it though? or
There's
did
a
it,
fly
like-
in there. The fly was trying to catch a buzz. He flew down into the cup. Tyler trapped him, and his name's Steve, and that's where he lives now. That's
where
our
he
buddy
lives.
Steve.
Got you.
We
Tell
know-
your friends.
We know a mascot, Steve the Fly. I shall call him Steve. Got some. Oh, you can take the top.
Yeah.
Make sure you put a little hole in there so the little guy can breathe.
Oh, you want a buddy?
You want, buddy? Yeah.
Stick to the tape.
Oh,
Maybe that's how he catches it. See, they're all rallying around trying to catch their friend.
trying to catch Steve.
They're like, no, Steve.
Steve
got
caught.
My boy.
Not Steve. Oh, Steve's getting drunk.
Yeah, Steve's hammered right now.
Yeah, Steve's getting drunk.
He's
We're partying, Steve.
So getting back to what I was saying. On a 5.9 common rail, you put basically tuning on there. We had a Smarty tuner on the COVID Cummins before we did all the crazy stuff to it.
Yeah.
Intake, tuner, exhaust, stock lift pump, stock everything else. I think we put a transducer upgrade and in the transmission. What are those two? The governor pressure solenoid and the transducer.
Yep.
We did that. And to the tire was like 429 on the 90 horsepower tune. So if you're trying to get close to 500 on a common rail, I mean, I know 429 is not 500. I get that portion of it, but that was still a very rowdy truck, and you're way within your working abilities on that truck.
Yeah.
I think common rail, man. Like I love the idea of like a mechanical engine on an older truck. I get that part of it, but if you're actually trying to use this thing, and the money is there to make a P pump happen, you're not far off of making a common rail swap happen. And there is the cool factor.
Yeah.
There's always that cool factor you got to put on there. Everybody puts 12 valves in Ford trucks because they're easy.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying common rail's harder, but
And most of the time, let's be honest, it kind of looks like shit.
it does look like shit.
100%. Nobody takes their time to wire them right,
No.
so they look like
Garbage.
garbage.
There
look
was
like
two
garbage.
at Deer Park Diesel today when I went there to drop off a transmission. I was like, hey, you guys got any Fummins around? We're going to be talking about that tonight. He's like, oh, yeah, we got one over there, one over there. We went and looked at it, and I went, wow, this guy did not tuck any of this.
Yeah, it's like they get it in and they're like, where's the butt connectors?
I built a
Deer Park's
motor
gonna square
for
them
one,
away.
and the guy, like, he did all the swap. I just built a new motor for it, and he brought it back, and I was like, just to go over it, and I was like, what in the hell?
Yeah.
Freaking spaghetti mess is under this thing.
Yeah.
And it's like, this engine needs 2 wires. What's this? All this other shit you've got strung all over the place.
Well, that and then
So do it right, damn it.
None of the gauges work and all sort of kind of shit.
Yeah.
And then you can't even guys like that can't even be bothered to order the same fucking rocker switch.
Yeah.
They have 6 different kinds of rocker switches and a couple of different toggles for all
Whatever
this other shit.
O'Reilly's had, and
Yeah.
then they were out, so then went to Napa, and then Napa was out, so then we went over.
And then one of them failed at some point, so the wires are hanging out of the dash and twisted together.
Yeah.
You just touch them together.
There's
This is how you start it.
this one's got the 25-cent fuse in it.
Yeah.
It's called a quarter.
Yeah, they got a freaking like a choke cable modified for the fucking cutoff.
Yeah.
Of the,
One more cheap hole.
Race truck.
yeah, race truck. That's fine. That's fine. That's fine. With the little race truck that we had, the pull cable broke, so I had to get out each time and pop the hood and turn it off myself.
Yeah, my wife used to have to do that. She'd roll into the pits, be like, the truck won't shut off. Just pop the hood. I'll get it for you.
I got this one, babe. It's on me. Yeah. So yeah, final answer, common. I'll swap it with a 5600 and
Or
a
6.7. If you can find a 6.7, oh buddy.
I think now we're getting into
We're having too much fun with this.
we're having too much fun.
No, you can build a 6.7 for the same as you can do a 5.9. You just got to find the right
finding
ones.
one, right? I mean, that's the big
Yeah,
initial
looking hard
hurdle. Oh, okay.
Well, and here's
Where would you go then?
Marketplace.
Oh,
Yeah, you go to Marketplace.
I guess I haven't actively searched for
the
6.7.
So I just recently got onto like the Firepunk discussion forum.
Yeah.
There is so much good stuff on that place.
Oh, well, there you go. Shit.
Yeah. So if you can find a 6.7, dude, a 6.7 gets down when you don't have to have the required exhaust behind it.
I know.
A 6.7 gets
and that's the
down.
thing. Like, for a normal guy to try and make this happen, he's now jumping through a couple extra hoops.
Well, how cool of a truck do you want?
I don't know.
Exactly.
I don't know, Logan. How cool of a truck do you want?
Well, let's face it. He's starting out with an OBS F350.
That's
okay, it's
true.
only going to be so cool.
You need to find out. You need to
Let's
find out.
close
Yeah,
it down a little bit. It's a Ford.
This guy's got a low budget.
And we're also not trying to turn his truck into a pretzel.
Yeah,
you put
yeah.
a 6.7 juiced up, and then all of a sudden this thing's gonna turn into a Tootsie Roll.
Yeah,
man.
yeah. You're already pushing it with the common rail.
Yeah.
You're beep bop, you boop your way to a freaking ham sandwich there.
So it sounds like the answer is a turned up 4BT.
Get a
I'm into
Perkins
it. No, I
3
like it.
liter. It's a Ford. It'll have more than a Power Stroke is ever capable of.
That's not hard. That's not a high bar.
My Bristol
exactly,
Stratton
that's what
is about the same as
You can go buy the freaking Predator motor out of Harbor Freight. $200. Done. See, this conversation was done hours ago.
and it sounds better.
Yep.
I'll just see myself out.
Want me to open the door?
Yeah.
I'll have you know both my 7.3s work flawlessly right now.
Got rid of my 6.0 yesterday.
Oh, good job. You get your money for it?
Nope. Yeah, this
I'm sorry, man.
this economy right now, I'm telling you.
I
I was just
actually
happy to see it leave.
I was just thinking that a couple days ago. I was looking at trucks. I was like, man, it's a fucking buyer's market right now. If you guys
Boy,
look for
howdy.
a project truck, get the fuck out there right now.
Yep.
And this is how I gauge how prices are going right now on Marketplace, is trying to find tires. When tires start coming down to the prices we saw like 10, 15 years ago, people selling used tires, it's like,
Okay.
all right.
I shall call him.
Did you get Tyler caught another fly in a cup?
I'm going to call him Jeff.
We've got Steve and Jeff.
Now how am I going to drink my beer?
Dude, I'm getting rid of these flies one at a time. They're
That's
all going to
fine.
be in a cup.
You know what? I haven't seen a fly in a while. Do we only have 2?
I've
that only two?
successfully wrangled 2 flies.
I could have swore there was like 15 of them. How they were? Yeah,
Thanks for solving that problem, Tyler.
You're welcome.
Yeah, this is much
You're
better.
driving me
don't,
crazy.
Don't worry, Andrew. I can find you a cup.
Yeah, I need another cup.
I'll find you a beverage receptacle, my friend.
I'm just going to drink out of Tyler's now since he stole mine.
Shit. All right. Well, you guys are going to have to tune in for episode number 2 where we talk about power. It's going to come up right after this one. Obviously, we're all still sitting here, and it's going to be the same group of us talking
Yeah.
about
We're
it.
not coming back next week for that one.
There's actually
Apparently not.
Oh,
guys,
Yeah.
Jeez, overtime.
Yeah.
there's going to be 6 of us.
Yeah. With Steve and Jeff on the table, yeah. But we
I bet they're gonna
greatly
talk shit
appreciate
about
all you guys
Fords.
tuning in. I hope you guys have enjoyed this. I've enjoyed having Andrew and Mitch on here, but they're going to be on again in about 5 minutes. But it's going to be a couple days for you guys. And yeah, we'll see you in the next one.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for tuning in. Make sure to subscribe and check us out at dieselpowerproducts.com.